certain points in the evolution of the Tyrannissium, there were other extraterrestrial forces that weren't originally wanting to participate in the Tyrannissium experience, in the experiment of creating the Tyrannissium, that decided they wanted to take it in their own direction. So they came and they interbred with some of them. They distorted the gene code of the original Tyrannissium. And because of that distortion, there was a certain clarity of consciousness that was lost by the Tyrannissium. Some of their race began to digress. They began to lose touch with, they had a consciousness that felt total at one-ment with God. And it was a state of love and joy and beauty that's very hard to describe. When they got involved with some of the other extraterrestrial groups that did not have that high of a gene code, it reduced their own. And it also reduced their ability to identify that strongly with the God presence, with the harmonious operations of the universe. So some of them evolved into a species called the Atlanteans. Not the Atlanteans, but Atlanteans. There's only one T in that name. That was where our original race memories of Atlantis actually came from. It came from Harmonic 2 in Atlantean. They began to have problems with what we would term here ego. They began to see themselves as very powerful, and they began to see power as something not to be used just in love and in service to the universe, but as something that they could collect and use against other beings. There was a large group of them in power in the Atlantean civilization. There was a group of them called the Templar Solar Initiates, who were appointed as the guardian keepers of certain of the energy dynamics of planet Terra. It was a very, very sacred position, and it was given to them by something called the Sirian Council from the planetary star systems of Sirius. They had given them, because the ones from Sirius were part of the parentage of the Tyrannissium race, and they had entrusted their children with this very, very sacred job. Well, the Templar Solar Initiates goofed up big time, to put it mildly. Our Atlantean memories, which we all have at some level, deep down in our gene code, are the memories of what the Tyrannissium did to Terra in their abuse of power. And what they did was they used certain crystalline technologies, which are chelantic technologies, as was discussed in some of the other classes that I gave. They used them in a way that caused implosions and then explosions within the energetic grid of planet Terra. Part of planet Terra, not the whole thing, but part of it broke off. Its energetic form dismantled instead of being together. When a planet or a being begins to dismantle itself energetically, that is the opposite of evolution. It is de-evolution. It is moving backwards and digressing into something less than what it was, rather than evolving into something that it was supposed to become. So the Tyrannissium race from the second harmonic universe began to digress and abuse power, and how, because of that abuse of power, that the planet Terra underwent a tragedy, where a part of its substance was literally blown apart. Now, where did that substance go? It left the second harmonic universe. It dismantled itself in energy terms, and it fell in vibration. It fell in speed. Its particles began to pulse slower. It ended up in the first harmonic universe. The fragments of Terra became our solar system. And there are 12 planets. One of them imploded a long time ago. It was called Maldak. And we have an asteroid belt now, I believe, where that once was. There's another planet that hasn't been discovered yet, and it's called Nibiru. And that's considered basically the 12th planet. And the sun is also considered a planet. So when the fragment came off of Terra from the second harmonic universe, it came into the first harmonic universe, and it created our Big Bang. The numbers are a bit off as far as where our scientists think the Big Bang occurred. It did occur, but not exactly for the reasons they think. And the planet existed before that Big Bang occurred. But what we are calling our solar system, the planets here, were actually part of the planet Terra from the second harmonic universe. So our universe came into being this way, our solar system came into being this way, not our galaxy, just our solar system. The souls of the people who were on that portion of Terra when it exploded and disintegrated, they were killed. But when their bodies are killed, where does their consciousness go? Because they were part of an explosion, their the energy structures, what we call particide grids, of their bodies and of their consciousness were also ripped apart. They dropped in vibration. They also ended up down here in the first harmonic universe. And if it were not for what was attempted and succeeded after that occurrence, those souls would have become part of what's called the unified field of energy within dimensions 1, 2, and 3. They would have become the firmament and the substance that other species would evolve with and through, rather than retaining a sentient identity of their own. They would lose all complete orientation of consciousness as a Taurinicium. And they would start their evolutionary process from a lower level than they originally started it in the first place. Because the evolutionary strain of the Taurinicium did not start down here. It started in the second harmonic universe. They were thrown all the way back down to the first, and they would have had to start basically as subatomic particles that make up, basic matter substance here.